Hi everyone, this is Paul here from the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing the astrology report for the new moon in Virgo, which is taking place on the 9th of September at 6:01 PM Universal Time, which translates to 7:01 PM here in the UK because the clocks are forward for the summer months. And I'll be outlining some of the key themes and potential opportunities this new moon offers to us. Before I do that though, I just want to clarify that the astrology of the new moon doesn't control our lives, it doesn't force things to happen to us. It merely gives us an idea of what kind of opportunities for growth are at hand, what kind of lessons can we potentially learn at this time, and what kind of growth is available for us. But for that to actually happen, we actually have to participate in the process. It doesn't happen automatically. We actually have to kind of co-create and work with the natural flow of things in order for us to grow in line with the natural evolution of consciousness that's unfolding at this time. So with the new moon in Virgo, Virgo deals with anything to do with that. It's a purification of the self, but it's like self-refinement. It's seeking it's self-mastery, and it's that will to get good at something. So one of the things with Virgo is, or the new moon, is we can look at what skill sets do we already have that are a little bit rusty, and how can we really refine them, and how can we get truly good at something, and then how can we convert these skills or turn them into some kind of service to help other people, because service is one of the highest manifestations of Virgo, but it requires us to actually develop competency in certain areas first before we can actually help other people out. And it also, to truly be of service, we also have to be humble. Virgo is capable of a very strong and lovely sense of humility about it, provided that the inner critic side of Virgo is also dealt with at the same time. Because Virgo is all about that radical self-honesty. It's being real with ourselves. It's separating truth from illusion, seeing, okay, well, what is actually worth pursuing at this point, and what is just a waste of our creative energy, and what steps we need to take to convert this raw creative potential into something tangible and practical that can ideally be used to help other people. Virgo also deals with the day-to-day maintenance of life, so it deals with maintaining order in our physical environment, but more importantly, Virgo is the maintenance of the temple, if you like. It's maintaining the physical body through getting adequate exercise, eating a reasonably conscious and healthy diet, and making sure that we also get sufficient rest so that we're not burning ourselves out. Whilst the mind side of things is learning to tame the inner critic, because Virgo deals with mental health as well, so it's learning to overcome the tendency to overanalyze, to recognise that worrying about things is a waste of energy. If we can't do anything about a situation, then what's the point in worrying? If we can make necessary change to the situation, we know what we need to do. Again, why do we need to worry about it? We know what we need to do, so all we have to do is take the necessary action and the situation's sorted. So it's learning to overcome any tendencies to worry, and this new moon gives us an opportunity to deal with this. So it's looking at where we guilty of overanalyzing things, where do we cause ourselves anxiety by stressing over details and making things more complicated than they need to be. Because our minds can either be our greatest ally or our greatest enemy. So one of the things the mind can undermine us is where the mind is coming up with all kinds of mental scenarios for any given situation, and rarely the situation is ever as bad as we make it out to be, but we cause ourselves unnecessary stress by dwelling on how things can go wrong rather than looking at everything as a learning process. So there can be a major fear of failure with Virgo, which can stop us from initiating new beginnings. So this is another thing that we might want to address, is where do we have a fear of failure, and where can we learn to reframe it to see and recognise that when something doesn't go quite right, it doesn't necessarily mean we failed at something. It just means that there's a lesson to be learned that we didn't know before, some information we weren't aware of, but now that we know what's caused them to go wrong. We've got more practical wisdom now, and we can change our approach to things so that we can still continue to grow and move towards our goal, but we change the approach to it rather than giving up on the goal. And so one of the key things for this new moon is tackling that inner critic. It's setting intentions to let go of the tendency to criticise ourselves, to embrace unconditional self-acceptance and self-love, so that we're not judging ourselves, and this means that we won't be judging other people as well. So we learn to be more compassionate towards other people. And Virgo also, this particular new moon is almost directly opposite Neptune in Pisces, so this brings in the spiritual component and reminds us to bring body, mind and spirit together in holistic unity through allowing the intuition side and psychic sensitive to be balanced by the rational and logical side, because when the two functions work side by side, we see things much more clearly. We have intuition to see the bigger picture and logic to discern what is the most practical course of action to take based on the insights we're getting. We also have the new moon sextile to Jupiter and trine to Pluto, so this new moon has an immense potential for us to undergo a major transformation internally, where we face our own shadow and deal with that inner judge. So we let go of the tendency to judge ourselves and judge other people. We overcome any tendency to project our own shortcomings onto other people. And through Pluto, we face our shadow side and we develop true integrity, where we are who we say we are, and we, rather than living behind a mask, we dare to present our true self in public. But this requires that we undergo a transformation in our sense of self, and that we learn to be humble in how we express ourselves rather than being arrogant and bragging. Because through humility that true power is achieved. It's being humble enough to recognise the need to improve ourselves where required, and to be true to who we are and own our own shadow rather than projecting it onto other people. Because when we take personal responsibility for ourselves, we empower ourselves to achieve amazing feats of growth, and this new moon is no exception. If we dare to tackle that inner critic, if we overcome any judgments that we hold either towards ourselves or towards others, and we embrace unconditional love, compassion, psychic sensitivity, and combine it with reasoning and logic, we achieve a much more holistic sense of how the mind is operating, and we're better able to deal with situations through wisdom rather than just knowledge and thinking that we know what's the right course of action, but we're actually missing information. If we work on this now and focus on our health and learn to love ourselves unconditionally, so that we don't stress ourselves out and we don't allow that inner critic to stop us from achieving anything, we can overcome the fear of failure, and we can choose to embrace growth and transformation in our life. We may not necessarily feel all this happening at the time of the new moon. Quite often we feel the energies a couple of days later or so, depending on how sensitive we are to the energies. But this is a key opportunity for us all to improve our health through improving or nurturing the body through exercise and a healthy diet, the mind through relaxation, meditation, and obviously the spirit also through meditation and compassion. And if we do this, we achieve a holistic sense of health, and we're better empowered to help ourselves and to help others. And that is the highest side of Virgo, is the ability to help oneself and to help other people to help themselves. So I hope the new moon in Virgo brings you much growth and opportunity for transformation. Take care, and may you have some wonderful new beginnings from this new moon.